right, here it is, the Santa Cruz Megatower. Been waiting all trip to ride this thing. Doing a little climbing with it.
Nice. Got it.
Got Jay here with me.
Hey, how you doing?
We met at Sea Otter. He's a follower and viewer of the channel, and he lives up semi-close, so we thought we'd do a little riding together, demoing the Megatower. So, yep. So the particulars about this bike is it's a large. It is the CC frame, and Santa Cruz was nice enough to give me the Axis build. Sorry, if I stall, I'm checking for ticks on my legs because already I've had no fewer than 5 crawl on me already. Anyway, so large CC Axis build. So to finish off the build, you got Fox 36 Grip 2 up front. Got the Super Deluxe Ultimate Air in the back. Axis shifters, derailleur, fancy oil slick cassette, Axis reverb dropper post. You got Santa Cruz's house bar, which is an 800mm carbon bar, and a race face 40mm stem. Ooh, hold on, climbing challenge. I know it looks flat on camera, but I swear there's an incline to it. All right, back to the build. You got the Code RSC brakes with SRAM's 200mm centerline rotors. You got their Preserve carbon wheels, Maxxis rubber, DHF up front, DHR2, excuse me, in the back. And what else? I think that about covers it. So let's talk about fit for a second. This is a really important piece for me because I am in the market for a new bike, and this bike is on that list. So I'm on an XL Hightower LT, and a large Megatower is almost longer, if not as long, everywhere, minus top tube, than the Hightower LT. And top tube wise, that's going to come down to a steeper seat tube angle, moving that seat forward a little bit. So again, I'm on a large. It's got wider bars than I would personally run. It's got maybe 10 mil of spacers underneath the stem, and they have the saddle pushed all the way back. So the cockpit is definitely almost at its longest on a large, and I don't know, it feels really good. I'm in a more upright position than on my Hightower LT. Especially, I can notice that in my pedal strokes, more up and down and not in front of you. But I am really tempted about that large, extra large, because I'll have to see how this does on the descents. Rear center isn't going to grow between large and XL. Reach is 20 mil longer, I believe, on the XL compared to the large. Top tube, obviously longer, but still shorter than my Hightower LT. So methinks if I got an XL, the growth would pretty much be up your front center, with narrower bars, seat more in the middle, if not all the way forward. My dropper would probably be inserted most of the way, if not all the way, so I'm really maximizing that C-tube angle. So yeah, we'll have to see. All right, so I got some decent time climbing with the Megatower, and my thoughts. This is the air shock. Sag is really just a hair over 30%, and this thing feels firm, even open. What's weird though is you can look down and you see the linkage moving, but it does not bob like at all. In the open position, it feels, I say almost like a hardtail. I know some of you will find that hard to believe, but in any case, the pedaling feels firm, moves forward excellently. Over chatter, which is where I felt like my Hightower LT struggled, especially chatter over a steeper incline, I felt like the Hightower LT would buck you, so it would not react with the hits, it would react after the hit, meaning your rear tire would hit something, it would buck you up, and then it would squish into its travel and roll over. I still feel a slight sensation of that on this bike, but I would say it is on the 60 to 70% or more reduced compared to my bike. It would take pretty large or small to medium-sized hits to really feel that sensation come to fruition. On anything else, most things that you're going to climb, this is going to feel very firm. And I mean, while we talk about that, let me just flip it into firm. Yeah, almost like a hardtail. I notice definitely less movement on that upper link, and it just propels you forward. So we're on a little smoother, flowy, flat section, and this bike sprints very well. You can put lots of power down to propel you forward. So if you like to enduro and you do a lot of pedaling, you'll be happy to know that this will sprint very well for you. So I'm kind of just going over some little chatter bumps. And unlike previous bikes, or like my Hightower LT, I'll call it previous VPP bikes, you can definitely feel the sensitivity through your feet. Whereas like my bike, even with a coil, it felt a little bit more wooden. Like you could definitely see the shock was doing something, but you couldn't really feel it in your feet. That being said, this isn't an overly plush bike either. I'm gonna try a Nomad at some point, and yeah, it's definitely not, it's not plush as you would think it would be, given 160 mils of travel. So I definitely need some bigger hits. And still, I know the fork was set up for me by Santa Cruz. It doesn't feel overly plush, but that's a setup thing. That's a personal preference. The rear still is not overly plush. It's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just how I feel in my feet and legs. It's definitely not a buttery feel like an Evo or some of the more plusher bikes. But if you like knowing you can put power down anywhere on a downhill, even with 160 mil of travel, you will like the way this bike pedals. Oh, it almost looks very energetic. That was a bigger drop jump-ish thing, and I could definitely feel the plushness there. Almost right where you need it to. Versus it being overly excessively plush. Alright, so we just got done with our test ride of the Santa Cruz Megatower. To summarize my thoughts, I would say overall the bike is very energetic. It almost kind of feels like a trail bike when you're just pedaling on the flat. It does not feel overly plush in terms of just it robbing you of power. Climbed really well, kind of like what I alluded to. It has much increased top stroke sensitivity, and I would say 60 to 70-ish% of that kind of bucking nature that the previous VPP bikes had is gone. So I would say it's much improved as a technical climber. Still not the best at reacting to multiple hits, but vastly improved. It really makes that climbing experience better. Descending wise, again, it's very energetic. It just feels like a trail bike. It takes all the hits as it comes, stays high in its travel, and you really feel the plushness come in when you maybe go off a drop or really hit a big hit going at speed. But other than that, it feels like a bike that you can just pedal, and it feels very racy. That would be the best way I can describe it. If you have any further follow-up questions or more detailed questions, definitely let me know. There's probably some stuff that I'm missing. And a big shout out to Jay Wood. Jay is a viewer of the channel. We ran into each other at Sea Otter, and we had the idea that, if we have the time, let's kind of do a video together down in Santa Cruz, as he doesn't live too far away. So Jay actually got to ride the bike a little bit, so I'll let him share his thoughts on it. Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, obviously. Yeah. This is really cool to get the chance to come down and see the factory and get a feel for their products firsthand in their soil. And as you kind of alluded to with the climbing, it definitely felt much more of a trail bike than I would consider a 160 bike to feel. I do have my giant rein here with a coil that's 160, 170 front, and the way that you just press into the pedals, it almost just lifted you up and propelled you forward over the obstacles as you were kind of encountering them on the trail. Any little holes, it would just kind of skip over and not so much dive into them and try to suck everything up. So it's very direct and very precise in how crisp it was. So with that said, moving into the downhill performance, it was very, very playful and just very direct. I could point the thing
almost anywhere on the trail, and without thinking about it, it was intuitively just reacting and responding underneath me. It felt much more like a toy than my bike because my bike's so large and it's just got a much gushier feel to it. So it felt very just playful for how big of a 29er it was. Like I didn't realize that it was more of a 29er just by the way it felt sitting on it. So I was more shocked that it was still fun, playful, and it definitely had that extra reserve when you were going through some rougher sections of trail and off of some drops. Some bigger routes to just soak it up and then keep you moving forward and not just wallow into itself.
We're going to wrap this up. We had a great day on the Megatower. And again, if you have any more detailed questions, let us know. And again, thank you, Jay, for coming out.
Absolutely, this is great.
It's a lot of fun.
It was a good test.
So hope to do more collaborations in the future, but we had a good time today. So until next time, we'll see you later.